Beyond the buzzer, inside the game, this is Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
It is the Sports IQ. This is Tuesday, September 30th. September 30th? Are you kidding me? Wait, we're really already at the end of September? I thought we just got here. Time flies when you're doing a daily show to entertain the masses. No, just give you a hard time. Larry Smith here. We got a great show coming up. Lo Yarnall of Yahoo Sports joining us here in a couple of minutes. We've got an exciting Game 5 tonight. It's Las Vegas at home against Indiana. We'll get more about that. This Indiana team without Caitlin Clark, they're just moving on, doing their thing. It's pretty amazing to watch. And, of course, Vegas is Vegas. A bit later, Kevin Brockway joining us, a Florida Gators beat writer from the Gainesville Sun. We'll talk about the Gators and the season that, oh, my, they would like to get the season over sooner than later. But we'll talk about that here coming up in a few minutes. We'll get into some college football talk, too. Let's start first with the final two games of the NFL's Week 4 slate. The opener, a pair of winless AFC East squads, so looking to break into the victory column. Darren Waller of the Dolphins had not played an NFL game in nearly 2 years, but made his presence felt with the 2 TD catches from Tua Tagovailoa to propel Miami to the win over the Jets, 27-21. But not all peaches and cream for the Dolphins, as star wideout Tyreek Hill had to be carted off the field, his leg in an air cast with a very serious knee injury. He remained in a Miami hospital overnight. He was the Dolphins' leading receiver on the day, 6 catches, 67 yards, and he was injured. But again, it would appear that his 2025 season is over. We don't want to speculate, but it just was a pretty serious injury. We wish the best for him. The Jets actually won the offensive battle, outgaining the Dolphins 404 yards to 300. And they ran for 197 of those yards, picking up over 7 yards per carry. But the mistakes killed their chances. 3 turnovers, 13 penalties in that game. In the nightcap, Denver making easy work of the Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals 28-3. This game was never close. Cincinnati crossed midfield just once in the game, and that was on their opening drive when they got a field goal. After that, it was all Bo Nix and the Broncos. Nix passing for 2 scores. Denver rolling up 512 yards of offense to the Bengals, 159 yards. Nix also ran for a touchdown. Now, in the last 2 games, Cincinnati has been outscored 76-13 since Jake Browning stepped in for the injured Joe Burrow. Browning completing only 64% of his passes, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. If anyone out there has a phone number to the New York Giants GM, please give it to his Bengal counterpart, Duke Tobin, because either Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston would be better for the Bengals right now than what Browning is giving them. It is a season that we talked about them starting 2-0. They never had good success to start a season. That's just not what the Bengals do. They did this year, and it's all just gone kaput since then. Okay, some baseball news for you. We'll talk more playoffs here in a few minutes. But after losing 90-plus games for the first time since 2016, the Twins firing their manager, Rocco Baldelli. In 7 seasons with Minnesota, Baldelli guided the team to the postseason in 2019, 2020, and again in 2023. That was when they won their first postseason series since 2002. 7 years under Baldelli, 3 AL Central titles, 527 wins, 505 losses. Now, he should have seen this coming. The team was 51-57 at the trade deadline when Minnesota clean house, dealing 10 players, including their 5 best relievers. They went 19-35 the rest of the way, the second worst record in baseball during that stretch. Bruce Bochy also will not return to the Rangers, a mutual parting of ways after just 2 seasons after guiding the club to their lone World Series title. In 3 seasons with Texas, he guided the team to a record of 249 and 237. But a big Game 5 tonight in the WNBA, and these playoffs have not gone the way that we thought they would go. When we reached out to our friend Lo Yarnall with Yahoo Sports to talk about this, we thought today we'd be looking at the finals, but no, Game 5. You know what? Listen, no matter what happens tonight with Indiana, give this team credit with all the injuries. Your superstar, you had her only 13 games this year, and yet here they are. They're a game away from the finals. They're 3-0 here in these playoffs in elimination games. They refuse to quit. I mean, what a job that by Coach Stephanie White and these players to get themselves in this position now to be 1 game away from the championship round.
Yeah, like you said, Larry, this is a testament, I would say, to Stephanie White's coaching ability. When you look at the stars that she has got on the court, Kelsey Mitchell, you can't ignore the impact that Kelsey Mitchell has had. But when you look at Odyssey Sims and Shea Petty, those are hardship players. So not only is she having to adjust her lineup when she's losing her core, she's also going and looking at players she can pick up on contracts and making the right decisions and understanding who can fit into our system, who chemistry wise can fit into our system. And she's made the right decisions. And she said that the Fever are the best. Fever are at their best when the stakes are the highest. And they kind of bit of deja vu here. They went and they upset the Dream on their home court in game 3. And I think this tonight, I don't want to ever go against A'ja Wilson. I think like as long as Asia's on the court, they've got a good chance of winning. But I think the Fever, if they win, it's well deserved. Like they've made all the adjustments that are needed. And it's incredible that this is the same Commissioner's Cup winning team, but it's not at the same time because the lineup looks almost completely different.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So many players, 5, I think 6 players, season-ending injuries. And to your point, Indiana, look, they routed the Aces in game 1 of this series on this court. So being in Vegas and the lights and being on this court and Michelob Ultra Arena doesn't really matter. I mean, because they've been there already. How about the play? You mentioned Kelsey Mitchell, and again, stepping up into an MVP caliber role. I mean, she was one of the top vote getters. Obviously, she didn't win, but she was in the conversation. And Aaliyah Boston, what she's done now in 24 and 14 the other night. Mitchell had 25. Boston, somebody I think that is a little bit in the shadow, obviously, of Caitlin Clark, but even now in the shadow of Kelsey Mitchell. And yet she just goes out night after night, takes on players like A'ja Wilson or like Napheesa Collier, and she just excels every night.
Yeah, I want to speak to Aaliyah Boston, specifically that matchup with Aaliyah. Aaliyah Boston, the matchup with A'ja Wilson. There is history there. These are 2 South Carolina National Player of the Year title winners. They didn't play together, but they have that caliber of they've been coached by Dawn Staley. They know what it takes and they play the same position. And what's interesting when you look at their game is that A'ja, with her height and her agility, looks to create space versus Boston, she loves to create contact. And when you look at game 4 and the disparities in the foul shots that were taken, Aaliyah Boston took more shots at the free throw line than the Aces' entire team did. And I think that's a testament to the type of game that she plays, very similar to Angel Reese. When Angel Reese gets the ball in the post, she looks to create contact. What makes A'ja Wilson so deadly is that with her height, when she hits that step back, there's not much you can do. And I think when you look at how A'ja was most successful, not only can she drive to the bucket and weave, but that step back, when it's on, it's on. But when you look at game 3, when it's off, it's not working. It's not going to go well for the Aces because they need big games at that point from Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray. And I'm sorry, I want Jewell Loyd to step up here. She was kind of a non-factor in game 4, which is fine. But when it comes to game 5, if you run the risk of A'ja Wilson maybe not having a great game, you look to someone like Jewell Loyd, our biggest offseason asset that we picked up. Where are you when the lights are the brightest? And I know that the Storm, they beat the Storm, and that was a little bit of history there. But like, this is the time where you need everybody to step up the best that you can. And I'm looking specifically to that A'ja versus Aaliyah matchup because, again, this is game 5 of them going at each other under the post. They know what to expect. There's nothing that the other person has done at this point, but it's the physicality or the creating space away from the physicality.
Yeah, very good point. And yeah, to Jewell Loyd, she was such a huge part of that 16-game win streak to end the regular season, one of the longest in league history. There's no question. You talk about, as we were talking to Lo Yarnall here of Yahoo Sports about the WNBA, you talk about the physicality, and that has become another big topic. And I think we'll continue to talk about this on into the offseason as they work on the CBA. And you were mentioning one of your colleagues had a piece about Cheryl Reeve and the physicality, the Minnesota coach, 4-time championship winning coach, ejected from game 3. She was so angry and so vehement with her complaint. She was suspended for game 4, which Minnesota then loses. Minnesota, the regular season champion, also without Napheesa Collier. And the issue was a physicality against Collier. I think it's, look, I mean, we've all said it at some point. The physicality right now in the WNBA is a problem. It's got to be policed better.
The 2 times ago that I was on with you guys, we were talking about the Fever, and the Fever were complaining a lot about the foul calls. And I remember I said, as soon as other teams start talking about it, I'll pay attention. Because right now, when it's just the Fever getting mad about Caitlin Clark getting hit, I'm not going to really chime in. But now it is clearly time has passed. It is a big issue. And I think when you look at specifically the play that Fee got injured on, I like the debate that was happening online about, was it a foul? Was it not? The contact was clean, but the clear path foul, I think, Fee has the right to her lane, and there was a little bit of AT blazing right into her knee. And it's not just about what's happening on the ball. And I think anybody who watches basketball know that fouls are both off contact and off ball and on ball. And when you look at stuff like that, are these officials equipped to distinguish those different types of fouls when the biggest lights are going and the crowds are screaming? And when you mentioned Cassandra Negley for Yahoo Sports did a great piece about how the league, everyone is talking about the officiating, but is the league listening? And when you look at just the basics of officiating in the WNBA, these are part-time officials, and they have no public last 2-minute report like the NBA does for accountability. There's no centralized review center. And so when you start there, these women, these professional athletes are not getting the best officials that their sport can offer. The best officials are going to the NBA. And when you're the league, when you're Kathy Engelbert, start there. There are actual differences you can make that can appease the coaches, the teams, the players by saying, we have part-time officials right now. We're going to go out and get full-time officials. We've got money coming in from all of these TV deals, from these new teams that are adding. We're going to go get full-time officials. We're going to train them. We're going to give a public last 2-minute report. We're going to get a centralized review center. Start there. Those are differences that can be made before they start a next season. And I know that there's a lot coming up with the CBA, but I sincerely hope that when you look at the new contracts that are coming up, the league is going to have to step up to the plate, not just in money, but also in making the game better and safer. Because Kathy, I'm sorry, you want Nafisa Collier on the court. You want Caitlin Clark on the court. Them getting injured is not good for your product. So do something about it.
Yeah. You think about the injuries, and we've talked before here on the show that Nafisa Collier, missing double-digit games cost her the MVP. I mean, if she only misses 4 or 5 games, she might be your MVP. Look, Asia had a great second half. So, Asia did what Asia did, right? But at the same time, when you think about even just a month ago in mid-August, it was still Nafisha's to lose, even though Asia was coming on strong, and not playing certainly did not help her, to your point. Caitlin being out, Asia's been out. I mean, to your point, you have to do that. As someone who's watched the W for a long time, and I've talked about it on the show watching, I was in girls high school basketball as a kid. I watched, Jackie Joyner-Kersey play in high school, and she was known as Jacqueline Joyner with a huge afro back in the late 70s. That's how far back I go. Ann Myers, Nancy Lieberman, et cetera, the list goes on. But I watched a lot more scrutiny these past 2 years being host of the show on ION on Friday nights and watching closely. Producer Tony mentioned before we started the show here as we were talking and getting ready to go on that it reminds him of even the bad boy era in the NBA of the late 80s, early 90s, where, it's very physical. There's a lot of bumping going on. There are plays that happen in real time. In my mind, I'm like, okay, there's a foul. Oh no, it's a play on. Oh, okay. And to your point, you're adding 2 more expansion teams in 2026 with 3 more coming in the years to come. And even on top of that, because we know Houston's going to have a team at some point, et cetera, et cetera. To your point, you're no longer this little 8-team league. You're going to have to make some decisions or make some changes.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the physicality, for me, I noticed the elbows the most.
Yeah.
Like they're flying elbows everywhere. I think Alyssa Thomas has they've all gotten away with the push-off fouls, obviously. But particularly when you get under the rim, Aaliyah Boston's got a lot of flying elbows. Asia Wilson, with her height, is not immune to the elbows. Alyssa Thomas, like that, to me, it's like if we're missing, it's one thing to say the clear path foul was the touch clean on Alyssa Thomas's steal of the ball for Nafisa Collier. It's another thing when you're saying like these are obvious fouls, and we speak to like consistency. If you're not going to call it, not going to call it, let them play on. And I think the players are taught, you play until the whistle goes. But there is a certain point of it is an art, and the art gets lost when the players can bully their way up to the rim and not be punished for it late in the game when that sends the team to the free throw line.
And I think the highest level of basketball, women or men across the board, there is a physical finesse to the game, regardless of who's playing. And this is not a thing for the W. This is the men's game as well. When you take that away, and you in the physicality, you lose some of the glory, some of the beauty of it. And I think that's where the NBA, to the point, they got away from the bad boy ball. They started cleaning that up, and there's a beautiful part of the game now that evolves. And my fear, I think a lot of us, like we're saying, is that our fear is that we're going to lose that with the fan base growing, with new teams coming in. It was a 12-team league. I apologize, not 8-team. With the fan base expanding, there's that risk of that. So I want to get to the other series right now. Again, the shocking development that no Reeve, no Collier in Game 4. Minnesota goes down to Phoenix. Give Phoenix credit. They were a team that was always right there. They were kind of for most of the season, kind of the third team. They kind of cooled off late in the year. But they had all the pieces there. But give it credit to Nate Tibbetts and what that team has done, bringing in bringing in Satu Sabali from Dallas, and then later DeWanna Bonner rejoining. I mean, this is a totally different team from one that had Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner and Sophie Cunningham last year, and yet here they are in the finals.
Yeah, I think that is a testament to Tibbetts going out, just similar to Stephanie White, figuring out what players that he wanted and how they can fit in together. And I think we can't ignore DeWanna Bonner's addition. Yeah. And Tibbetts had said after they won the series that DeWanna Bonner, the moments weren't big enough for her. And that when they went out and got her from the Fever, they specifically said they wanted her for the postseason because she has incredible postseason experience. The Game 4 win was her 94th career postseason game. Alyssa Thomas is in the 50s in terms of postseason games, but Alyssa Thomas is still looking for her first championship. And I think they're playing with that, like house money in a way. They were, like you mentioned, not top. They weren't the Lynx or the Dream at any point, or Liberty before they dropped off, but they've been consistent. And I think that's a testament to also Satu Sabali. They have that big three that Nate Tibbetts created once they lost Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, Sophie Cunningham. They created the big three of Alyssa Thomas, Satu Sabali, and Kalia Copper. Kalia Copper has won a championship with the Chicago Sky. Coincidentally, that was the last time that the Mercury were in the WNBA playoff, or the WNBA finals, And that was when Candace Parker went to Chicago and got the ship there. So they're playing with so much experience that when these crowds get crazy and the moments get really big, the Mercury don't have any quit in them. And I think it was fascinating to see when the Lynx were playing the Valkyries in the first series. The Valkyries have made a very big point about being like, they're never out of it. Even if we're up by 20, they're never out of it. And I don't think the Lynx were mentally expecting that out of the Mercury, because there was two big comebacks in this series with the semifinals. And shout out Sammy Whitcomb, Ventura, California. That's where I'm from. She's from there. She went to Buena High School. Shout out Sammy. She hit the big shot to end Game 2 to complete that comeback to send it to overtime. So it's not just the big three. DeWanna Bonner's coming off the bench and can be a threat. Sammy Whitcomb does not shy away from the big moments. Up top to bottom, they're a threat against any of this Aces team that we're looking at or this Fever team. And they're sitting there and they're resting. They get to watch Game 5 tonight as film. They're in the best case scenario going into this finals.
Yeah. And the thing is having that time off. And remember, they didn't have it the last series. Minnesota's the one that was done early, and Phoenix had to go from Phoenix to New York, back to Phoenix, and then Minneapolis in a span of like 5 days. Came up short that Game 1. Obviously, they had tired legs, but they've come on strong, 3 straight wins, and that's just huge. Lo, it's always great to talk with you. We very quickly, we have three teams left. Phoenix is in, waiting for Indiana, Las Vegas. Right now, who's your champion when it's all over?
Oh, man.
Put you on the spot.
I'm going to go Alyssa Thomas. I think she's going to get her first chip. She's been snubbed from MVP way too many times. I think the basketball gods need to give her the chip with DeWanna Bonner. They've been through a lot, so I'm rooting for them. Also, Robin Brown is a Quinnipiac alum, and she's head of social media for the Mercury, and I cannot root against Robin Brown. But A'ja Wilson and the Aces, I still fear you.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question. Yeah. I mean, like you said, when A'ja's on the court, and Becky Hammon, she didn't get Coach of the Year. She wasn't going to get it this year, but the job she did to keep at this team and keep pushing and demanding more really came through in the second half. Again, you think of a team that was 11-11 at the All-Star break, and here they are a game away from the finals. Lo, always great to talk with you. Enjoy the games. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Larry.
All right, appreciate it. Lo Yarnall, once again, Yahoo Sports, talking about the WNBA Game 5 of the semifinals tonight. It is Vegas at home against Indiana, with Phoenix waiting in the finals. Okay, we've got more to come. Keep it here. It's a Sports IQ.
Fans of big sports radio and sports spectacular podcasts have a new home on the Chief Sports Network. Find your favorite programs and content all in one place by downloading the Chief Sports app in your mobile device. Created in South Carolina, the Chief Sports Network is the home of an expanding network of live and podcast format programming. It is also the home of one of the leading national college football podcasts, JC and Morgan, hosted by ESPN's Mike Morgan and 24/7 Sports' JC Sherbert. Download the Chief Sports app for free and find all of your favorite programming under one easy umbrella. Thanks to all of our markets for your loyal support of Big Sports Radio and our Sports Spectacular podcast, and we look forward to connecting with you anywhere in the world on the Chief Sports app.
You're listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Welcome back here to the show as Major League Baseball playoffs beginning today with the wild card round. Producer Tony is joining us right now. Tony, missed you yesterday and missed our conversation, but I knew we would be rejoined today. We get a chance to break down these series of the Tigers and the Guardians. If you're Detroit, how do you just, take some Listerine, wash that taste out, and say, you know what, let's just begin anew. It's 0-0. All our dreams are still there. We have a shot.
Well, I think that's the key thing for them, right? The good news is, if you're the Tigers, is you can shorten that rotation. You don't have to worry about your fourth and fifth starters. Look, they released Charlie Morton with a week to go in the season. He made his last Major League appearance with the Braves this past weekend, and riding off him into the sunset. So you can narrow it down. You can get more time out there for Tariq Skubal. I think it's going to be interesting, Larry. What I'm looking to see today, it's been about a week since he hit the Guardians player in the face with that pitch, and now he's back there in the same stadium facing the same team. I want to see what Tariq Skubal comes out as in the early part of this game, and can he keep it going and do what he needs to do, and handle things.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on the other side, Cleveland, they're outstanding pitching all through the month of September to get them here. Can they continue in October?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need those starters to step up. They are a deep starting staff. They can keep it going. I like the fact, that they were making all the right moves at the end of the year. They've got just enough power to be lethal. They've got really good pitching. I love pitching in the playoffs, especially in these short series. I think that pitching wins out over offense more times than not. I think the edge belongs with the Guardians. If their starters can do what they did in the regular season, they are going to be a tough out in these playoffs. I want to see what Gavin Williams can do right off the bat. His last start was stellar. If he can continue that momentum and keep everything going, again, this team's a tough out, the Guardians.
Yeah, they played well. We talked about yesterday. Again, they've done it pennies on the dollar compared to teams like the Mets. So 25th in payroll this year. Good for them in Cleveland. So Skubal versus Williams, a matchup in game one of that series. A bit later on, it's Red Sox, Yankees, also the other American League wild card matchup in this. Crochet versus Fried in this one. I love Tigers, Guardians too, but I love when you have playoff series with divisional foes because they know each other so well. There's just a little extra spice when they take the field.
Absolutely. And this Red Sox-Yankees one is going to be really interesting. Max Fried does not have the best postseason history. He flamed out a couple times in Atlanta when they were in the postseason. I'm interested to see how he comes out in this first game. I think it's key for the Yankees in their postseason hopes to have him be solid. He doesn't, if they were to lose a game, it's not a big deal. But he has to be solid in this game one. He cannot come out of the box and get hammered by the Red Sox. And the reason Red Sox got Garrett Crochet was simply just for this time. That's why they wanted him. That's why they got him. And that's, we're going to see exactly what he can do for Boston in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. Red Sox, Yankees, we mentioned yesterday, the winner of this series gets, their other AL East team, the division-winning Toronto Blue Jays. And again, be sure our friend Randy Miller was on yesterday. The great piece he's working on the past couple of days. He was saying was going to go out today on NJ.com on Aaron Judge, and so be sure to check that out as well. Red Sox, Yankees, and that series. Go down to the National League. Padres and the Cubs. Two teams that the Cubs really haven't contended for the division title since they lost that series. I think it was early last month to Milwaukee. They never regained, but they've been consistent. You got a couple of 90-win teams here in these two facing off in Game 1 in Wrigley.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to whose stars step up the biggest. Can Manny Machado, can Fernando Tatis, can they carry that San Diego team over the threshold and get them a postseason win? By the same token, if you're looking at the Cubs, can somebody like Matthew Boyd, who's young, but he's their Game 1 starter, he's been their ace all along this season, can he step up and keep the momentum going for the Cubs, whose pitching looks to be solid? The Padres rotation is a little bit shaky, this season. And I'm not sure what they have left in the tank. I think the Cubs have the edge based on a little better rotation, a little deeper team. If Tatis and Machado go cold, the Padres are absolutely done.
Yeah. Rematch of that 84 NLCS classic. The ball through the legs, through the wickets. Leon Durham. Way back in 84. Okay. But hope springs eternal, and the Cubs are looking to get a win here. The winner of this series takes on Milwaukee. Meanwhile, Philadelphia awaits the winner of the other series, the Reds and Dodgers. Look, the Dodgers, the defending champs, they are who they are. But the Reds are this team that, as Randy was saying, 83 wins, they're only in because the Mets couldn't. Not only could they not win on the final day, they couldn't even score a run on the final day. That just kind of epitomized the Mets season, right? In a nutshell right there on Sunday. But to me, and too, these kinds of teams that squeak in, I find to be extremely dangerous because they had to eke their way to get here, and they know they're playing with house money, and they've won to get this far toward the end, and why not just keep it going?
Well, that's just it. And the Reds have the starters to, put the brakes on the Dodgers' run. Hunter Green has been really outstanding, especially the second half of the season. The other starters that they've been able to trot out there, the younger kids for the Reds. Look, some of these younger kids, they have no fear. They're not nervous. They're just going out and doing their thing. The Reds are my surprise team to come out of the National League. Look, what have they played? I think something like 9 1-0 games this year.
Yeah.
You get into those kind of games in the postseason and strange things start happening. Balls start falling that don't normally fall. Things happen that don't normally happen. I like the Reds in a big upset in this series over the Dodgers.
Yeah, Reds, Dodgers, 9:00 game Eastern time tonight. It's on ESPN. So postseason baseball is here just a day before October, and we're here for it. Okay, Kevin Brockway talking Florida Gators is up next on the Sports IQ.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-215-0341. 800-215-0341. 800-215-0341. That's 800-215-0341.
You're locked in to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
As we mentioned, getting back into college football, getting ready for another big weekend of games. Kevin Brockway, our friend from the Gainesville Sun, also part of the USA Today Network, joining us, talking about these Florida Gators coming off the bye week. So, Kevin, you had a break. The team had a break now. 1-3. We've discussed again the schedule. Where is this team right now? Where's the head coach, Billy Napier? Is DJ Lagway healthy? We have so many questions. Let's just start overall. What's the psyche of this team right now in Gainesville getting ready for this weekend?
Yeah, well, I think they're trying to play that the bye week came at a good time, and then it came at a time to try to fix the offense. If you remember last year around this time, the issue was defense, and they got it fixed. So they have a feeling that, maybe their bye week strategy, they practice 3 days, they focus heavy on 11 on 11 stuff, trying to get, DJ as many live reps as possible. Because if you remember, first 3 weeks of fall camp, he had the calf strain, he was limited. So they're hoping that getting them up to speed will result in a much better October because, as you mentioned, things couldn't have gone much worse in September for this team. And certainly, particularly the offense, 3 touchdowns in the last 3 games, a ton of penalties on the offensive line, which has underperformed given expectations. It's been a perfect storm of bad on offense, but they have stayed in games because their defense has played reasonably well. So they're hoping that if they just get a little more offense, then maybe, things will turn for the better in October.
Yeah, it doesn't help that you play a team that's, hot in South Florida and then play 2 top 5 teams in LSU and Miami, both on the road. And now you get Texas at home. But yeah, you're right. I mean, 33 points scored in the 3 games against Division I foes or, FBS foes. That's something I think is the big surprise, and no surprise that they tried to tweak that now. What do you think they will do differently against Texas that you haven't seen so far out of this Florida team here in this season?
Well, I think they're going to try to take some more downfield shots, although it's a little tricky because teams have been playing a lot too high safety against them. And that was something that, again, sports, so much of it is about adjustments and counter adjustments, right? DJ Lagway burst on the scene as a true freshman, had all those completions deep. People see the tape. Now they know, hey, this is how they play him. Like, if he's going to beat you, make him beat you underneath. And DJ has not done that so far. And I do think that, that's something that they have to strike a balance with in terms of, offensively, but, taking the deep shots when they come. But, part of that, too, is establishing the run, playing off play action a little more. I think those are things that, that they're all trying to get in the mix. But I think it really starts, up front with the offensive line. And the right side of the line has, struggled a little bit with Bryce Lovett at right tackle. That move has not gone particularly well. They've played Keaton Jones out there some. Jake Slaughter's been fairly consistent at center, and Austin Barber's been very good on the left side, but they've got to get the right side of that line figured out as well. And I think the bye week presented some opportunities in terms of, both development and, maybe some personnel changes out there.
I want to get back to DJ Lagway, and I mentioned at the very top as we began talking to you, completing, 2/3 of his passes, 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. The big question that producer Tony and I, as we talk every day and about different sports, is DJ Lagway healthy? You mentioned the calf strain in the preseason. It just feels like there's something missing right now. And is health an issue for him?
Well, yeah, you wonder whether he's playing at 100%, right? And he had some shoulder issues too last spring. He had, a core, kind of hernia issue also, so he was pretty banged up in the offseason, but I think it's a result of, more, maybe some of it is a result of, not getting necessarily the reps needed development wise is hurting him as much as the injury, because he claims he's 100%. He has looked a little better to me physically the last 2 games. I thought he was a little ginger in the USF game and in the Long Island game, the first 2 games of the season, but I think he's looked better physically. He's, tried to run a little bit. There are questions about how much weight he's carrying. He's at 247 pounds and whether that's good weight, and whether he's in shape as a result of some of these injuries. You have a calf strain, maybe you're not doing as much cardio as you can. So, I think those are questions too with regards to DJ, but I do think that he is determined to figure it out. He was very resolute after the Miami game saying, it's my responsibility to get this fixed. He took accountability to his credit, but it was very strange because, he had the 5 interception game against LSU, and it seemed like in the Miami game, and, maybe some of this was Billy Napier in the game plan, they went the complete opposite direction where they're very conservative, didn't take any shots downfield, almost afraid of him to make a mistake. And he didn't have any interceptions, but he only threw for 61 yards. He was throwing, wide receiver screens the whole time. So I think there's got to be a balance there between, risk averse throws, but also taking shots when they're there.
Well, now you've got number 9 Texas coming in, the Longhorns falling in their opener to Ohio State. They've gotten wins, but not been incredibly impressive, I guess. They're still trying to figure things out themselves, I guess. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, and I think Arch Manning, comes in with a lot of hype, bursts onto the scene. Maybe he's not quite the dynamic quarterback you think he is. They have some issues on the offensive line also, right? They lost a lot to the NFL draft. I do think defensively, they're pretty solid though on all three levels. I mean, it's another rugged defensive test for Florida in terms of, wanting to get the offense right. I mean, the last 3 weeks, LSU, Miami, and now Texas. I mean, those are three, top 20 national defenses that, Florida has seen. So I think it's going to be another challenge that way, but maybe if your defense rises to the occasion and plays well. And, the one thing about this defense is they've gotten a few takeaways. I mean, Cormani McLean had an interception in the Miami game. Not many sacks, though, not really affecting the quarterback as much as you'd like to see. And I think that's an area where they'd like to, just create some negative plays on defense a little bit more because they are giving up a few yards, but they've done a good job. They've been kind of a bend and break in terms of not giving up many points.
Yeah. Talking here with Kevin Brockway, the Gainesville Sun, USA Today network, as Florida taking on number 9 Texas on Saturday, 3:30 Eastern time kick. It's on ESPN, by the way. Another great SEC matchup. Florida starting off 1-3. We talked about they beat Long Island University. That was a shocker for most of us. Not that they beat them, but some of us didn't know Long Island had a football team. Literally, had to go look it up. I'm like, wait, these the Blackbirds? Oh, it's the other campus? Okay. Anyway, they got the win. But here's the thing I keep going back to, and I know moral victories don't count. I mean, especially in today and the the high dollar world of college football. But you get number 9 Texas this week, and then you're at number 6 Texas A&M next week. I can't remember a team playing 4 consecutive top 10 teams, and doing it this early in the season. I mean, it is just I really feel for Billy Napier in the program that it's not that you're 1-3, 1-4, or even 1-5 if it comes down to that. But you're playing some of the very best teams in the country. It just seems unfair.
Larry, what's fascinating is, as the SEC last week came out with the new schedules. And there were some Florida fans that were upset about, losing LSU, losing Tennessee, and these permanent rivalries. And, they got South Carolina and Kentucky. And I'm thinking, well, given where the program is right now, you should want those 4 teams every year because what do we hear every year? The last few years, strength of schedule has been, certainly very tough. And I think Scott Strickland, when he made this, and you make these schedules 5 or 6 years out, certainly the Miami series, the Utah series, the home and homes that Billy has faced. I think the thinking was back then that the non-conference was going to be weighted heavier in terms of in terms of the college football playoff. We have seen that that's not the case. Indiana getting in last year as an example. So I do think that, I don't know if that's necessarily a miscalculation there by Scott Strickland, but it does seem that, in terms of, the strength of the schedule, they thought that was going to help with the college football playoff appearance. But, certainly for Billy and where the program is right now, it's been, tough sledding just to get to 7 or 8 wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Overall, what has the feeling been down there about, other than losing some of the traditional teams, traditional rivals? What has the feeling been about going to 9-team conference schedules and then now the realignment in terms of how the schedules fall and trying to play everybody within a 3 or 4 year time frame?
I think it's good. And I think for Florida fans, next year they get to go up to Auburn, for example, and that's a 4 or 5 hour, they've only played Auburn twice since 2007, which is kind of ridiculous, right? And yet they've been playing like Texas A&M. It seems like almost every other year they've been shipping them on a flight to College Station. So I think this whole, playing everyone at least twice in a 4 year period is a positive step. But it really had to come with the 9-game schedule in terms of the numbers and so forth and everything, and the league expanding first to 14 teams and then to 16 teams. I think that, certainly I think, and I do think it will help Florida in terms of, the balance and where they are as a program right now. And I think that was something else that was factored in terms of Greg Sankey. And, listen, if Florida in 4 years' time gets back up to, where they were 10, 15, 20 years ago, then, maybe the schedules will be tougher the next 4 year cycle.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We were just mentioning yesterday's show that I think Georgia and LSU have played like twice since 2010. I mean, it's just, let's spread the wealth a little bit and get some of these other teams. And it's good for college football. Like to your point, I want to see Florida play Auburn. These are two teams that are usually in the top 25 right there. With both great histories. Yeah. Original SEC team. So I definitely want to see those. And so I'm glad that that's happening. Back to Billy Napier. What has his mindset been right now? Last year he went into the season, of course, people felt he wouldn't last year too. They had the turnaround. Lagway comes on. They get, 8-5. This year hasn't gone the way that he would have liked, obviously. What's his mindset been like these past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I often refer to it as the 9 lives of Billy Napier in terms of, now he's back on the hot seat. He's got a patient athletic director in Scott Strickland that still believes in him, but you wonder if the patience is starting to run a little thin. I think, if Billy Napier does lose his job this year, and it's a high possibility, I think it'll go back to that offseason decision where he decided to hold on to the plays instead of delegating it to somebody else or finding someone from the outside. He's been very resolute about that because he felt like it worked at Louisiana, but it just simply hasn't worked here. I mean, they were 12th in the SEC in offense last year. So far, they're 15th or 15th in third down offense. Some of that's on the personnel, but a lot of that is on the design of the play calls. And this is a very high, football IQ fan base down here. They see the wide receiver screens that go nowhere. They're used to the, vertical passing game, Steve Spurrier. Billy Napier has defended it. Yesterday we wrote about it, and he felt like with DJ Lagway coming back, he didn't want to break up the verbiage, break up the terminology, keep things stable for him, not have him learn something new. But at the same time, if that same program isn't working, then you have to think about tweaking things. But he's held on to it, and, he's going to go down with it. If they don't turn around, it's really going to be on him as the offensive coordinator to devise some plans that are going to be a little better and score some points.
Yeah, well, big chance here this weekend against number 9 Texas. Kevin, always great to talk to you, my friend. Thanks again for your insights, and enjoy the week. We know the weather down there is just terrible in Gainesville.
Well, we've had a lot of overcast days, although the sun just came out. So I think you were probably good luck in that regard, Larry.
There we go. All right, my friend. Well, thanks so much again. Enjoy the game this weekend. We'll talk soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, Kevin Brockway joining us once again. Gainesville Sun, USA Today Network, covering the Florida Gators and doing just a tremendous job day in, day out. Florida hosting number 9 Texas. Again, 3:30 kick. That's on ESPN on Saturday. We've got much more to come, including a moment of awe. What happened on this day in history? It's pretty cool. It's coming up.
Paramedic, firefighter, police officer. Different job titles, one common goal: to keep communities safe. They all risk their lives every day responding to emergencies. Just because they accept their jobs can be hazardous doesn't mean they have to be. Is your workplace safe for everyone? Learn more about the Put Yourself in Our Boots campaign at ourboots.ca. This message brought to you by the John Petropoulos Memorial Fund.
Want to start off with one thing, actually two things. Yesterday, by the way, I mistakenly, in my ad lib about the NFL, I said Cam Ward, Heisman Trophy winner. He did not win the Heisman, and I know that. Travis Hunter did, obviously. Cam Ward was in the mix. He was their runner-up, whatever. So correction on that. I never want to ever be wrong. And so when I am, I will admit it. So that was my mistake. Bad ad lib. And number two, we were negligent last week. Producer Tony celebrating his 42nd wedding anniversary. Tony, is that right? Are you that old?
Last Wednesday, we are that old. My wife and I, 42 years last Wednesday.
You 12 and you got married? A child bride, child groom?
Right out of college. Went right from college right to the wedding altar, practically.
42 years. Well, man, you and Linda, you're very special to me, great friends, your daughter.
Thank you.
Your family. And so our love to you guys, 42 years. God bless you. And please tell Linda we say congratulations as well.
We will do that.
Yeah, awesome. We didn't get it in last week. Want to make sure we get it in now. So, okay. NFL, not only, 42 years of marital bliss, because I know you never, ever did anything wrong in 42 years of marriage. Come on. That never happened. But the Bills, baby, are 4-0. One of 2 unbeaten still in the NFL.
Yeah, they're riding high. Josh Allen just doing Josh Allen things. And, as long as they can keep him upright and healthy,
Yeah.
the only thing I worry about is I'm still not impressed with the weapons on the outside. There's so much pressure on Josh Allen each and every game to be perfect. James Cook is a great option to run the ball. They're strong at the tight end spot. The wideouts just aren't impressing me. And I hope the defense can hold up their end of the bargain in the long run.
Yeah.
It's a real weird year in the AFC with the Ravens being 1-3, Lamar with a potential hamstring injury. The Chiefs are sitting there at 2-2. Never count them out. But if there was a time for the Bills to make a run to the Super Bowl, this seems to be the season. It's like the stars are aligning. Their last year at Highmark, maybe. I don't even want to think about it just yet. Maybe, just maybe.
Yeah. Well, the Bills have been kind of that best team to have not gotten there in this stretch, right? So it does feel like that right now, with those two thorns in your side, having some issues, maybe this is the year. You're right. If they can keep winning, everyone's got to come to Highmark. And like you said, the emotions there, home field, cold as bejesus. So yeah, absolutely. On the other side in the NFC, the Eagles 4-0, and they keep finding ways. I thought that was a tremendous win for them on Sunday against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that was just a huge, the way they battled all the way down to the end. They let the lead slip away. They let Tampa back in it, then come back and hang on. I know there's some rumblings in Philadelphia. A.J. Brown is happy they're 4-0. He's unhappy the way he's being used. So hopefully they can figure that out. Look, you want to see the best of the best play each other. And the Eagles right now are still the class of the NFC. Disappointed in what Green Bay has done the last 2 weeks. They have 3 or 4 minute stretches where it seems like everybody just lowers their IQ to 0, their football IQ to 0, and they can't get anything done. That last little bit of the first half against the Cowboys was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Absolutely embarrassing. The same thing you did against Cleveland, and it cost you a game. And special teams have now cost you 2 wins against Cleveland and against Dallas. Look, if you're Matt LaFleur, you've got a new president. So he's not beholden to you. He didn't hire you.
Yeah.
Same thing with the GM, Gutekunst. So if you're going to go down riding the special teams coach, Rich Biasucci, if you're going to go down and let the ship sink because of your loyalty to Rich Biasucci, then you deserve to lose that job. And right now, the Packers, I know they're 2-1-1. It's got a long time left to go. But this is a team that should be better than that. Mm-hmm. They've shown they can, but they lose focus, and when they lose focus, all 4 wheels fall off at the same time.
Yeah, and they had to scramble to come back twice, and had to scramble to come back in that. In a game that, to your point, they should have won that game. I mean, it should have been in regulation. It shouldn't have even gone to overtime. So I'm totally with you. Who is your big surprise team in the first quarter of the season?
So far through those 4 weeks, I know they lost this past week, but I still like Indiana. I like the reclamation job of Daniel Jones bringing his career back, seeing what they're doing. Just the way they're putting things together. Detroit is still going to be Detroit. They are really finding their groove right now, in that division. And look, the fact that the Bears are now 2-2 on the season, I don't see them making the playoffs, but I think interesting things are starting to happen in Chicago. It reminds me almost of Detroit when Dan Campbell got there, and it took a while to get going. May take Ben Johnson a few, but I think the Bears are on the right track as far as what's going to happen in that Central. The team that I think is about to get left behind in the Central is the Vikings. They seem to have some disarray going right now, and the backup quarterback situation is not good. Carson Wentz, he doesn't inspire anything in me as far as confidence at all.
Yeah, no question. Really surprised at Jacksonville 3-1 under Liam Cohen, who has been a journeyman. I mean, 2 different stints as offensive coordinator with Kentucky, sandwiched around a year with the Rams, and then in 2024, a year with Tampa Bay. Literally his 5th move in 5 years. But now a head coach in the NFL, which is what everyone wants to be, and he's got him 3-1 right now. A little sassy after the win over San Francisco and the heated exchange with Robert Saleh, keep your blanking name out of my mouth or out of your mouth, my name out of your mouth. And, little sass, but 3-1, he's got him, playing well right now. And look, like you said, it's a long way to go, but Jacksonville 3-1, that's reason to celebrate. They haven't been 3-1. I'm not sure they even this decade.
Yeah, it's been a while, and you hope you're starting to get the best out of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And maybe that, there's something infectious about Travis Hunter's personality. I've known him, watched him since his days in high school. There's something about this kid that he brings something to the table, and it's something very special. It's his play on offense and defense and being able to handle multiple things. But there's just something about this kid that seems to lift everybody's game.
Yeah. And, maybe it's Lawrence is not vocal enough. I'm not sure, but yeah, he does bring, there's an it factor that he brings to this team. And we'll see where it is. But look, good start for them, 3-1. That's impressive. Seattle also 3-1. Another team I didn't see with the good start, but they've got that going there. Okay, our moment of awe. It's a cool one. It's up next.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So, what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. That's 800-507-7293.
Time now for a moment of awe. And it was on this day back in 1972, the last day of the Major League Baseball regular season, the great Roberto Clemente getting the 3,000th hit of his career. And as you know, it would also be the last hit of his career. He would die in a plane crash in December of that year while delivering aid to Nicaragua, where an earthquake had devastated that entire Central American nation. Roberto Clemente, 3,000 on this day, will forever belong to him. We appreciate our guest stopping by. Lo Yarnall, talking WNBA from Yahoo Sports. Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun, talking Florida Gators. We appreciate you as always. It's Tuesday, final day of the month. Make it a great one. Say hi to somebody you don't know. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith, Monday through Friday. Continue the conversation at Sports IQ LS. We'll see you next time.